Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're ranking every intro in the Legend of Zelda series before we're whisked off on another adventure.
Link, you are the light. Our light. That must shine upon Hyrule once again.
But before we dive in, we publish new content all week long. So be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 20, The Legend of Zelda: Four Swords. Something has to be at the bottom, and the intro to Four Swords doesn't do much to make itself stand out. It begins with Link and Zelda visiting the Four Sword, and the princess giving a brief exposition dump. She senses the seal on Vati, an evil wind mage, weakening, and she's right. The villain breaks free, kidnaps her, and knocks Link unconscious. He's awoken later by three fairies and takes up the sword to split into four. The intro isn't terrible, just a quick, simple way to get to the main hook of being a multiplayer entry without much nuance. Number 19, Zelda II: The Adventure of Link. Maybe it's unfair to rank an NES game low since it realistically couldn't do much for an intro. But for Zelda 2, there's really not much here, nor does it have anything that grew to be iconic like the original game. The shot of a sword embedded in the cliffside looks pretty cool, and then we get a text crawl explaining the tragedy of this game's version of Zelda. While the setup of the sleeping princess is interesting, that's the whole intro before you go out to explore the larger world. There's simply nothing here that argues it should rank higher. Number 18, The Legend of Zelda: Four Swords Adventures. Like its gameplay predecessor, Four Swords Adventures gets straight to the point with little build-up. It just does it a bit better. After the opening text crawl, we find Hyrule covered by dark, ominous clouds. Link is called to Hyrule Castle, where he finds Zelda and 6 maidens, opening the resting place to the Four Sword. However, Shadow Link appears, and all 7 vanish in clouds of mystical fog. Chasing the Dark Spectre, Link retrieves the Four Sword and splits, allowing Vati to break free and carry the heroes away on a tornado. They then wake to the owl Kepora Gebora explaining what they must do. Fundamentally, it's very similar to Four Swords, just with more elements and a better art style. Number 17, The Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. Normally, we'd separate the two Oracle games, but their intros are similar enough to lump them together. Both games begin with Link being called to by the Triforce, and after reaching it, he's teleported to a neighboring kingdom. For Seasons, it's to Holodrum, where he meets the Dancer and Oracle Din. But Onyx, the game's villain, sends a mystical tornado to capture Din, putting the land's seasons in a constant state of flux. For Ages, he's transported to Labrynna, where he meets the singer Nehru. However, the villain Varen, having possessed Link's ally Impa, then takes control of the Oracle and flees, altering the flow of time. There isn't much to either, but they still serve as nice intros to their respective world-shifting mechanics. Number 16, The Legend of Zelda: Triforce Heroes. Several handheld Zelda games begin with storybook-like intros. The opening to Triforce Heroes tells the story of Hytopia, the fashion-obsessed neighbor of Hyrule. After its princess is cursed by a witch to be stuck in a horrid brown jumpsuit, the king calls on the aid of any heroes willing to help. What also helps this sequence stand out is its music. The entire soundtrack of Triforce Heroes is way better than it has any right to be. Exploring the castle town is also a delightful level of silly with plenty of comical characters. Even if the game is far from the best, the introduction still has charm. Number 15, The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. The intro to A Link Between Worlds begins and ends with a lure. It opens with Link having a nightmare of a massive, shadowy version of Ganon. However, he's then comically woken up and given the task of delivering a sword back to Hyrule's captain by his blacksmith boss. But after hearing a commotion at the sanctuary, he's forced to brave the underground tunnels to make it inside. We are then introduced to the primary villain Yuga, who quickly turns the priest's daughter into a painting before becoming one himself and escaping, while Link is, once again, knocked unconscious. While it shares elements with intros of previous games, the villain and his odd way of collecting victims is a strong way to pull players in. As is the introduction of Ravio afterwards, a great side character in the series. Number 14, The Legend of Zelda: Phantom Hourglass. Following the Wind Waker, Link, Tetra, and the pirates set off to discover new land. Phantom Hourglass is another game that opens with a storybook-like cutscene, this time delivered by Nico. However, the arts and crafts paper cutout aesthetic is honestly adorable. We then go to Link, having fallen asleep during the story, and Tetra, being her delightfully sassy self and not believing in tales of the dreaded ghost ship. Of course, when it shows up, setting the tone with unsettling fog, she hops aboard in search of treasure and is taken. Link attempts to follow as the ship sails away, but falls overboard. Awaking to a new fairy companion on a new island, we're then introduced to the kindly old man Oshus, who teaches us the unique new touchscreen controls. Number 13, The Legend of Zelda: Spirit Tracks. At the onset of Spirit Tracks, Nico is, somehow, still alive, and his art skills have gotten much better. The opening explains the unique lore of New Hyrule, but humorously, Link still falls asleep. The starting area, Aboda Village, is cute, but what makes this beginning a bit stronger than its predecessor is the introduction of Link's train. We get to conduct our way towards Hyrule, where Link meets Princess Zelda and the obviously evil Chancellor Cole. After Link sneaks Zelda out for a train ride, it isn't long before the villain enacts his plan, removing Zelda's soul from her body to revive an ancient demon king, Malladus. The scene is a wonderful way to bring in Zelda as the companion, and does well to establish the new setting. Number 12, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Being the first canonical entry to star Zelda instead of Link, we knew Echoes of Wisdom would have a unique opening. We begin as the main hero, storming a cave and battling Ganon. But after a rift opens and swallows Link up, Zelda makes her escape back to Hyrule Castle. The trouble is far from over though, as another rift claims the king and his two most trusted advisors, spitting out evil doppelgangers who have Zelda framed and arrested. Making our escape while learning the signature echo ability is quite fun, but there's also a significant level of intrigue. What's causing the rifts if Ganon is gone? What was Link's journey in finding Zelda and combating this crisis? Both the gameplay and the setup hook you to keep going. Number 11, The Legend of Zelda. Admittedly, the original game's opening gains a lot of points on iconicism. It begins with an opening text crawl just like Zelda II, along with the game's items. But it's set to the franchise's main theme, one of the most recognizable pieces of video game music ever crafted. We're then plopped into the middle of a giant overworld by NES standards, where we can go in whatever direction we like. Of course, heading into the first cave gets you Link's first sword, while the old man says, "It's dangerous to go alone, take this." That line has transcended video games, being only one of many things that makes The Legend of Zelda so special to so many of us. Number 10, The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. The opening to Twilight Princess usually gets a lot of hate, and we can understand why. Gameplay revolving around herding goats and catching a fish for that stupid cat isn't exactly exciting. In fact, it's kind of boring. However, what it does well is show Link as part of a real community, better than most others. Its pace is slow because he leads a simple life. That makes it so when things do start happening, you feel a greater pull to set things right and be the hero. The moment where the children are kidnapped, with Link helpless to stop it, feels momentous and surprising. Then there's the scene where Link enters the Twilight Realm and transforms into a wolf, creating an excellent hook in this darker chapter in the series. Number 9, The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. It's always nice to see a game where Link and Zelda already have a bond. The Minish Cap begins with the lore of the Picori, a miniature race that helped Hyrule during dark times, depicted with some great stained glass artwork. We then move to the princess waking Link up to join her at Hyrule's festival. There's a lot of charm in seeing Zelda excited over every stall, but the villain's entrance is what really grabs you. As the winner of the combat competition, Vaati earns the prize of touching the sacred Picori blade, which holds a chest full of evils closed. Of course, he then breaks it open, setting monsters loose on the land, and then turns Zelda to stone. Establishing Link and Zelda's friendship and taking her away so suddenly is a great way to introduce Vaati and set up the conflict. Number 8, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. The first 3D game in the series was a huge leap forward, and that was apparent right from the start. Beginning with what we'd learn is a prophetic dream, we see the only fairyless child in Kokiri Forest catch a glimpse of the evil that would fall onto Hyrule. And after a delightful flight sequence from Navi's POV, we get a lovely little woodland playground to explore. The opening of Ocarina does a succinct job at explaining this then new third dimension, while also summing up Link's status here, not as a member of the community, but as an outcast. Embraced by Saria and shunned by Mido, it creates a desire to learn more about our silent hero, all while giving us a great tutorial area. Number 7, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Koholint Island of Link's Awakening is one of the most fascinating settings in the series, and how Link gets there immediately sucks the player in. During a raging storm, Link's ship is destroyed and he washes up on the shore of this strange new place. A young girl, whose name we'd later learn is Marin, finds him among the debris and brings him to her house in Mabe Village. Though the island's appeal can't be denied, we're then meant to uncover its mysteries and find a way home. This intro may have placed lower if not for the 2019 remake, which redoes this sequence in gorgeous animation before transitioning to its wonderful diorama-like aesthetic. Number 6. The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword. Even better than establishing Link and Zelda as friends is establishing them as something more. Skyward Sword is another entry that opens with stylized lore, but it's everything in Skyloft that makes it special. The floating town is bursting with joyful colors, and the Knights Academy, along with the schoolyard bully plotline with fan favorite Groose, is a great way to show Link's place in this world and what his goals are. However, it's Zelda that really brings it all to life. Her feelings for Link are so palpably sweet you can't help but fall in love with her. The controls may take some getting used to, but they don't overwhelm you during the intro. After winning both the ceremony and the girl, Link has everything he wants snatched away from him. It's a fantastic opening that instills a stronger desire to rescue Zelda. Number 5. The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Of all the Zelda games that begin with lore, The Wind Waker does it the best. We're suckers for that medieval-inspired art style, the music is truly stunning, and it quickly sets up the crux of the conflict. After that, we get to know the pleasantly quaint Outset Island. This game's cel-shaded graphics make this small locale shine, and giving Link a family makes it all the more heartbreaking when he has to leave. After celebrating his birthday with his grandma and sister, Link is shocked to see a gigantic bird with a girl in its talons, fleeing from a pirate ship. Rushing to her rescue after she falls into the forest, it seems Link has saved the day, until the bird reappears and takes his sister instead. We feel the desire of Link to leave, as much as the sorrow of his grandma to be left behind. Number 4. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. In terms of setting the tone, A Link to the Past still does that better than most games in the series. It's the first in the franchise to give us solid lore on Hyrule before moving into instant peril. The king is dead at the hands of the wizard Aghanim, and his daughter is captured, sending out a telepathic message for help. While Link's uncle tells him to stay inside, he naturally goes after him during a dark and stormy night. He sneaks into Hyrule only to hear his uncle's dying words and have the job of saving the princess thrust upon him. Navigating the castle to rescue Zelda remains just as tense and exciting as it was decades ago. And it's as excellent a foundation as a Super Nintendo game could have. Number 3. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Open your eyes. Wake up, Link.
Breath of the Wild is another that begins with a mystery, and it is delivered with the utmost beauty. After hearing a voice and waking in a strange pool inside a cave, Link steps out onto a cliffside with an establishing shot of a now desolate Hyrule that's been reclaimed by nature. As the camera shows an old man by a fireside, we get our first clue towards the story. But Breath of the Wild then establishes its key theme: freedom. The Great Plateau is a phenomenal tutorial area where you can explore, uncover, and tackle your objectives in whichever order you wish. Plus, we instantly wondered about the history of this version of the kingdom, one of the many elements that kept us digging and working to unravel it. Number 2. The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. The opening to Majora's Mask is just as strange, unsettling, and enrapturing as the rest of it. As Link travels through a forest in search of Navi, he's attacked and robbed by the masked Skull Kid. Giving chase, he falls into a deep hole, not knowing he's entered the unusual land of Termina. It's here where Skull Kid plays a cruel trick, using the dark magic of the mask to turn Link into a Deku Scrub. We barely have time to get used to our new body before we're saddled with a new fairy companion, the embittered but compelling Tattle, and travel through a twisting corridor to Clocktown. The Happy Mask salesman who greets us at the end is almost as disturbing as the Skull Kid, uttering the now famous line, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" along with a light, creepy chuckle. In terms of immediately pulling the player in, there's only one game that does it better. Number 1. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
We've been descending for a while now. These tunnels are deeper than I thought. What could be down here?
The intro to Tears of the Kingdom has everything to grab your attention. As Zelda and Link explore the depths beneath Hyrule, there's tangible mystery surrounding the Zonai, as well as the mummified remains they find at the end. There's also heart-rending loss as Zelda falls and Link fails to catch her in an incredible slow-motion shot. After he wakes in a cave high in the sky, Nintendo outdid the cliffside shot from Breath of the Wild with an astonishing title card drop as Link plunges towards the tutorial area, the Great Sky Island. This is also an improvement. While it's again open-ended, it maintains the greater mystery of where these islands came from, what happened to Zelda, and who this mysterious spirit is guiding you. On top of introducing fun new mechanics, this opening is one of pure art. Which Zelda game has your favorite opening? And which one is your least favorite? Share your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great gaming videos every day.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.